Hello, welcome to the channel Why Stories. Enjoy watching.
I came back from the maternity hospital, and in my three-room apartment in the city center his mother was already living there. "I'll teach you motherhood, just for 20,000 pesos a month," she declared. But when I made a counteroffer, her face changed. Hello, dear listeners. If you're ready for a story full of emotions, unexpected twists, and life lessons, then make yourself comfortable. We're about to set off. Enjoy listening. The maternity ward was filled with the scent of flowers, freshly washed linens, and a faint, aching anxiety. Anna tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and checked the contents of her bag once more. She hadn't slept all night. The baby, named Valeria after her great-grandmother, had decided to hold a wakefulness marathon on the eve of discharge. "Are you scared?" Rosa, a woman with kind eyes and hands laced with fine veins, looked at Anna perceptively. "A little," Anna admitted, still folding baby clothes. Tiny socks, shirts, bonnets, all of it was turning into a tangible reality that both frightened and amazed her at the same time. Rosa sat down beside her, gently touching her shoulder. "Your first child is like a parachute jump. It's only scary until the moment you step into the void. After that, you just fly and enjoy it." Anna nodded gratefully. A duty nurse peeked into the room. "Herrera, you have visitors." Anna's heart began to beat faster. Diego wasn't supposed to arrive for another hour. Maybe he decided to surprise her. But in the doorway stood her mother, Gloria, strict, trim, holding a bouquet of pink peonies. "Mom." Anna jumped up, rushing to hug her. "You said you'd only make it in the evening." Gloria hugged her daughter, kissed the top of her head, and immediately pulled away, looking her over with the critical gaze of a military doctor. "I got off duty earlier. I couldn't possibly miss the discharge of my only granddaughter." She stepped up to the crib where Valeria was peacefully sleeping. "She's your spitting image as a baby, except for those brows, Diego's, spreading out like wings." Anna smiled. "Yes, I noticed that too, but her character seems to be mine. She stayed awake all night, exploring the world." Gloria chuckled. "Just like you? I still remember how at 2 years old you refused to sleep until I read you every book in the house." She looked around. "And where's your devoted husband? I don't see a fidgety father-to-be with a video camera glued to his hand." Anna shrugged. "He'll be here in an hour. Says he's preparing some kind of surprise at home." Something flickered in Gloria's eyes. Suspicion? Worry? But she quickly smiled and began asking about the details of labor. Half an hour later, she was hurrying back to the hospital. Her patients were waiting. "I'll stop by in a couple of days to check how you're doing," she promised on her way out. "Call me if you need anything. Anytime, day or night." Anna nodded, feeling an unexpected wave of tenderness toward this eternally busy, strict woman who had spent her life torn between work and raising her daughter. By the time Diego arrived, Anna had managed to put on makeup, slip into a new dress, and even style her hair a bit. She wanted to look beautiful, despite the sleepless night and postpartum fatigue. Diego burst into the ward exactly an hour later, disheveled, carrying a huge bouquet of lilies and a teddy bear the size of a 3-year-old child. "My beauty." He rushed to hug Anna, then carefully looked into the crib. "How's our princess?" "I just fed her," Anna answered tenderly, looking at her husband. "She's sleeping. Shall we get ready?" Diego suddenly grew nervous, his fingers fidgeting with the buttons on his shirt. Yes, of course. I've already sorted out all the paperwork. The car's downstairs." Something in his behavior alarmed Anna. Usually calm and reasonable, now he was fussing, avoiding direct eye contact, and constantly glancing at the clock. "Is everything okay?" she asked cautiously. "Yes, of course," Diego replied too hastily. "I'm just nervous. First time driving home with such precious cargo." Anna smiled, pushing away the anxious thoughts. She wanted to believe that Diego was just nervous, like any brand new father. All the way home, Anna thought about her new life. 3 years ago, she and Diego had bought a spacious 3-room apartment in the city center, bright, with high ceilings and large windows. The place had cost a fortune, but they managed. Anna worked as a financial analyst in a big company, Diego as a manager at an IT firm. Now this home would finally become their true family nest. "You know, I'm dreaming of silence," Anna admitted, stroking the chubby cheek of her sleeping daughter. The first 2 weeks in the maternity ward were pure chaos, crying babies, constant rounds, roommates. "I just want to lie in our bed, stare at the ceiling, and listen to the ticking of the clock." Diego gave a strange little chuckle, gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. "About that silence, I've got a surprise for you. At home." A surprise? Anna raised her brows in surprise. Did you buy something for Vale? Not exactly, Diego muttered, slamming the brakes at a red light. You'll see. They drove the rest of the way in silence. Anna kept turning over possibilities in her mind. Maybe Diego had renovated the nursery? Or bought some incredibly comfortable crib for the baby? Whatever it was, it had to be something good, something that would make their life with a newborn easier. How wrong she was. The key turned in the lock, and the first thing Anna saw were size 44 slippers in the hallway. Someone else's slippers, in her apartment. From the kitchen came the clatter of dishes and the sound of satisfied sniffling. Anna froze on the threshold, clutching her sleeping daughter tighter. Dozens of thoughts raced through her mind, none of them good. Diego? Her voice came out quiet, tinged with confusion and fear. Her husband slipped past her, mumbling something indistinct, heading straight for the kitchen. Anna followed slowly, each step making her dread grow stronger. Her mother-in-law, Carmen, sat at the table, sipping tea from Anna's finest porcelain set a gift from her parents for the housewarming. Her belongings were already scattered across the living room, 2 bulky suitcases, several cardboard boxes, and on the windowsill a sad row of potted ficuses. Well, here's the young mother, Carmen proclaimed, rising to greet them. Her voice, sickly sweet, rang like a false note in the melody of a happy homecoming. Your wife needs an experienced mentor now, Dieguito. Anna felt the ground slipping out from under her feet. Diego only shrugged guiltily, avoiding her gaze. What is going on here? Anna asked, forcing herself to keep her voice low so as not to wake the baby. Carmen stepped closer, trying to peek at the child's face. Dieguito invited me to live with you. You're an inexperienced mother, dear. Who better than me to teach you how to handle a child properly? I raised Diego all on my own, without nannies or helpers. I'll teach you motherhood, the mother-in-law continued, retreating back to the table and lifting her cup again. All for just 20,000 pesos a month. A pittance for such priceless experience. I've already rented out my own apartment, so now we're one family. Anna felt the blood drain from her face. 20,000 pesos a month? For the dubious advice of a woman who had spent her whole life tormenting her son and turning him into a spineless rag? A woman who had thrown a tantrum at their wedding because she didn't like the color of the tablecloths? Mom wanted to make it a surprise, Diego mumbled, eyes fixed on the floor. She'll help with the baby while you recover. Help? For 20,000 pesos a month? Anna struggled to contain her fury. And you think I'll agree to this? Carmen pursed her lips. Ungratefulness is the worst trait in a woman. I'm sacrificing my own comfort for you. Anna clutched her sleeping daughter closer. Her mind cleared with crystal sharpness. I have a counteroffer, she said evenly. Get the hell out of my apartment. Right now. The silence that followed was so thick it could be cut with a knife. Carmen froze with the cup at her lips, eyes wide with shock. And then the volcano erupted. She leapt to her feet, overturning the cup. The expensive porcelain shattered, tea spilling across the pristine white tablecloth. Out poured curses, threats, and descriptions of her daughter-in-law that would have made a dockworker blush. How dare you, you wretch! After everything I've done for you! Carmen screamed, spitting as she spoke. Diego, do you hear how she talks to me? Your wife is an ungrateful brat. Diego stepped between the two women but not behind his wife. He shielded his mother instead. Anita, come on. Mama just wants to help. He stammered, stretching out his hands in a placating gesture. Let's all calm down and talk this over. Anna looked at her husband, and something inside her collapsed, crumbling into ash. All this time she had thought of Diego as her rock, her partner, the one person who would always be on her side. And now, Valeria woke and began to cry, frightened by the shouting. Anna pressed her daughter to her chest, trying to soothe her. In that moment, two things became crystal clear. She was married to a coward, and she would not cope alone with a child in her arms. With trembling fingers, Anna pulled her phone from her pocket and dialed her mother's number. The ringtone seemed endless. Each buzz echoed in her ears as Carmen's tirade rolled on, shifting from insults to a meticulous dissection of her daughter-in-law's supposed flaws. I always knew he spoiled her, Carmen declared to her son, deliberately ignoring Anna's presence. Bought her an apartment, a car, everything on a silver platter, and she's never learned the slightest bit of gratitude. Anna's grip on the phone tightened. Bought her an apartment? She and Diego had scraped and saved every peso for 4 years, denying themselves everything just to gather the down payment. They paid the mortgage together, and most of it came out of her salary. Anna held the higher position. Mama, please. Pale-faced, Diego flitted between the two women like a frightened moth between lamps. Let's just calm down. Gloria. Anna breathed in relief as her mother's voice finally answered on the line. I need help, right now. She explained the situation in broken words while Carmen switched tactics, bursting into loud sobs, slumping dramatically at the table with her head in her hands. They're throwing me out on the street, she wailed, shooting scorching glances at her daughter-in-law. After all I've done for them. I'll be there in 20 minutes, Gloria cut her off and hung up. Anna slowly lowered the phone. Little Valeria, scared by the shouting, began to cry again. She needed soothing, a change, a feeding. Ignoring her mother-in-law's theatrics, Anna headed for the bedroom. Where do you think you're going? Carmen snapped. Give me the baby, I'll show you how to handle an infant properly. She moved toward Anna decisively, hands reaching for the wailing child. That was the final straw. Don't come any closer, Anna hissed through clenched teeth, backing toward the bedroom door. Don't even think about touching my baby. Diego, Carmen shrieked. Do you hear that? She won't let me hold my granddaughter. She's depriving me of my grandmother's rights. Diego shifted nervously from foot to foot. Anita, maybe let Mama hold Vale? She is experienced. Anna didn't answer. She stepped into the bedroom and locked the door behind her. How had it come to this? How had her quiet family life turned into a nightmare in just a few minutes? Her relationship with Carmen had never been easy. From the very first meeting 3 years ago, her mother-in-law had radiated restrained hostility, disguising it as motherly concern for her son. Dieguito has gotten so skinny, she lamented whenever they visited. You don't feed him at all, Anita? She would serve her overworked son hearty pozole and greasy tamales, each portion exaggeratedly large, while casting sidelong glances at her daughter-in-law, as if accusing her of neglecting her wifely duties. When they announced the pregnancy, Carmen's reaction was strange. Are you sure you're ready? She asked, pursing her lips. A baby is such a responsibility. Dieguito, you're still just a child yourself. Her son was 32. During Anna's pregnancy, Carmen's calls became more frequent. She bombarded her with advice, what vitamins to take, how to sleep, what to eat. Every piece of advice was accompanied by an anecdote from her own life, always ending with the same line, that's how I gave birth to my Dieguito. A week before the due date, Carmen casually hinted that it would be good to live together for a while after the baby's birth. I'll teach you everything, she said with false modesty, lowering her eyes. After all, I worked as a nurse for 30 years. Anna politely but firmly declined the offer. Thank you, but we'll manage. Besides, her mother had promised to help in the first few days. Carmen pressed her lips together and never brought it up again. Now Anna understood why. The plan was different to present them with a fait accompli, leaving no chance to refuse. Muffled voices came from behind the door. Carmen was scolding her son, her tone rising to shrill notes now and then. Diego replied in monosyllables, clearly trying to calm her down. Anna changed her daughter, settled into a chair by the window, and began to nurse. Outside, a fine drizzle fell, cars splashed through puddles on the wet asphalt. Just an ordinary day in Mexico City. It seemed unbelievable that only a few hours earlier she had been anticipating a peaceful return home, to her fortress. Valeria suckled intently, her tiny fingers opening and closing as if trying to grasp something in this vast new world. Anna looked at her daughter and felt her resolve harden. She would not allow anyone to poison these first days of motherhood, nor turn her home into a battlefield. And if that meant being tough, so be it. A quiet knock sounded at the door. Anita, Diego's voice was pleading, please open up, let's talk. I'm feeding the baby, she replied curtly. Wait. Anita, Mama just wants to help. She's worried about you. Anna stayed silent, fighting rising irritation. Worried? This from the person who hadn't even bothered to come to her granddaughter's discharge from the hospital, who only thought of how to profit off the young family. 20,000 pesos, Diego, she said quietly. Your mother wants us to pay her 20,000 pesos a month. For what? There was a pause behind the door. You know she needs money to live, Diego finally said. She rented out her apartment so it'd be easier to help us. And besides, we can afford it. Anna closed her eyes. True, financially they could afford it. But psychologically? And did you think to ask me if I want your mother living with us? She asked, keeping her voice calm. I wanted it to be a surprise. A surprise? Anna almost laughed. Surprises, Diego, are flowers, a cake, or movie tickets, not moving someone into our apartment without asking. Valeria unlatched and whimpered. Anna gently shifted her, resting the baby on her shoulder to burp. I don't want her living with us, Anna said clearly. This is my apartment, my child, and I'm not about to pay for dubious parenting advice. Our apartment, Diego corrected softly. And our child. Exactly. Ours, not your mother's. Ana stopped patting Valeria's back. And we should make decisions together. You didn't ask me. You just imposed it on me. I didn't think you'd object. Diego's voice now carried a wounded tone. Mama could really help. I can't take leave, and you'll be alone with the baby. I have my mother, Ana reminded him, who, by the way, never imposed her help or demanded money for it. Diego let out a heavy sigh. You know Mama's pension is small. Ana knew. Just as she knew Carmen regularly borrowed money from her son and never returned it. Small sums 1,500, 4,000 pesos, but with uncanny regularity, for medicine, repairs, new furniture. Yet somehow she still managed to vacation every year and update her wardrobe. Ana had never objected to helping her mother-in-law financially, but turning that help into a monthly rent payment and moving her into their home was too much. The doorbell rang, startlingly loud. Ana jumped. Mama? Already? There was a shuffle of movement and muffled voices outside the bedroom door. Then Carmen's voice rang out. Who's that now? Dieguito, open the door. Valeria whimpered again. Ana carefully laid her daughter in the carry-cot and went to the door. She hesitated for a second, then turned the lock and stepped out. In the hallway stood Gloria, still in her strict dark green suit, fresh from work. Her gaze immediately took in the scene, a bewildered Diego, Carmen with tear-reddened eyes. She gave Ana's mother-in-law the briefest of nods. I came to help my daughter with her baby. I didn't expect to see you here. And I decided to support the young mother, Carmen replied with a syrupy smile. With all my experience. I see, Gloria cut her off. Ana, how are you? Where's the baby? In the bedroom, Ana answered, feeling a wave of relief at her mother's presence. I just fed her. Gloria strode toward the bedroom, taking off her coat as she went. Ana followed, leaving Diego alone with his mother. Tell me everything, Gloria said quietly once the door closed behind them. She bent over the crib, gently touching Valeria's cheek. Beautiful, just like you. Ana sank onto the edge of the bed, suddenly feeling the full weight of exhaustion. She showed up without warning, rented out her apartment, wants to live with us and charged 20,000 pesos a month. For teaching me motherhood, Ana added with a bitter smile. And Diego supports her. Gloria straightened, her eyes narrowing. All right then. You'll stay here with Valeria, and I'll talk to them. Mama, please, no scenes, Ana pleaded. Valeria just fell asleep. I don't plan on making a scene, Gloria said calmly. I plan on solving the problem. Carmen will leave this apartment today. With that, she walked out, closing the door firmly behind her. Ana moved closer to the crib, watching her sleeping daughter. The tiny face was smooth in slumber, plump lips slightly parted. So many hopes, so many plans tied to this little human. Could it all really be ruined by her mother-in-law's greed and selfishness? Muffled voices drifted from the living room. Gloria's steady, even tone alternated with Carmen's shrill outbursts. Diego seemed to be trying to interject, but both women kept cutting him off. Ana sat by the crib, absent-mindedly straightening the blanket. She remembered meeting Diego 5 years ago at a corporate party. He was in IT, she in finance. She recalled his shy smile, his awkward but sincere courtship, how he blushed when giving her flowers. How nervous he'd been when he first invited her home to meet his mother. Back then, Carmen had been all charm. She set the table, asked about Ana's job, family, future plans. Only occasionally did odd remarks slip in. My Dieguito is such a homebody, he likes things done the old-fashioned way. We've always gone to church every Sunday, that's our tradition. My son is very attached to home. It's hard for him to be away from these walls. Ana hadn't thought much of it at the time. Only later, when her relationship with Diego grew serious, did she notice how often he consulted his mother, how anxious he became if he missed her calls, how he carefully avoided any conflict with Carmen. But infatuation had overshadowed it all. Then came life together, planning the wedding, buying the apartment, building careers. It seemed his mother had faded into the background. They saw Carmen only a couple of times a month, over dinner or at family holidays. Everything changed when Ana became pregnant. Carmen suddenly reemerged, calling several times a day with advice and warnings. Diego once again began visiting her more often, consulting her about everything. It irritated Ana, but she chalked it up to the nervous excitement of a future grandmother. And now, this betrayal, moving in without asking, without warning, demanding money and deference. The voices in the living room grew louder. Ana caught Carmen's words. And who are you to tell me where I can and can't be? This is my son's apartment. This is their shared apartment, Gloria countered evenly. And my daughter doesn't want you here. That's enough. Diego, Carmen shrieked. Tell her you want me to stay. A pause followed. Ana tensed, straining to hear. What would Diego say? Would he finally take her side? Mama, he began uncertainly, maybe we really should think this over. Ana just gave birth, she needs peace and quiet. Peace and quiet? Carmen's voice broke into a screech. And who's going to give her that? You? You can't even change a diaper. Or this careerist? She jerked her head toward Gloria, the woman who abandoned her own daughter with a newborn granddaughter. Ana flinched. What nonsense was this? Her mother had never. Don't you dare lie. Gloria's voice cut through the air like ice. I never abandoned my daughter. Unlike you who shipped your son off to your sister for 3 months so you could run off to Acapulco with your lover. A deafening silence hung over the living room. Then came the sound of a slap and Diego's cry. Mama, don't. Ana jumped up. Baby or not, she couldn't just sit back while her mother was being insulted. She resolutely flung open the bedroom door and stepped into the living room. Gloria stood tall, a red mark on her cheek. Opposite her was Carmen, flushed with rage, held back by Diego gripping her arms. Get out of my house, Ana said clearly, looking straight at her mother-in-law. Now. This isn't your house, Carmen shouted. Diego, tell her. Tell this upstart that this is your house. Diego glanced helplessly between his mother and his wife. Mama, please stop. You're upsetting Ana, and she can't get worked up. Upsetting her? Me? Carmen tore free from his grasp and stepped toward Ana. I haven't even started yet. Do you think I don't see what's going on? You wrapped my boy around your finger, stole him from me, and now you're trying to throw me out too. Ana instinctively stepped back, but Gloria moved between them. Carmen, stop. You're crossing the line. Line? Carmen let out a hysterical laugh. What lines can there be between a mother and son? Diego, tell them. Tell them I'm staying. All eyes turned to Diego. He stood hunched, as if trying to make himself smaller and visible. He began, then cleared his throat and tried again. I think we all need to calm down. Mama, maybe you really should go home for now. We can talk it over when things settle. Carmen's face twisted with rage. So this is how you repay me for all my love? For all my sacrifices? She spun toward Ana. Satisfied now? You've turned my son against his own mother. I haven't turned anyone against anyone, Ana replied calmly. I just want peace and order in my home for my child. Your home, Carmen mocked. And my son, what is he here? A servant? An ATM? Valeria's cries echoed from the bedroom. Ana shot one last look at her mother-in-law. I need to go to my daughter. In the meantime, pack your things. She turned and walked back into the bedroom, leaving another storm to rage behind her. Valeria was crying, fists clenched tight. Ana took her in her arms, rocking her gently and whispering soothing words. The quarrel outside continued. Carmen's insults grew harsher, but Gloria refused to rise to the bait. Her voice remained steady and firm. You will not stay here today, tomorrow, or ever. If you need money, ask your son directly, but you will not live here. How dare you decide that? Carmen screeched. Diego, will you really let these women boss you around in your own home? A pause followed. Ana held her breath, listening. Would Diego finally stand up to his mother? Mama, Diego's voice was quiet but firm. Gloria is right. It's better if you leave. Ana couldn't believe her ears. Had Diego finally taken her side? But the joy was premature. Leave? Carmen's voice dripped venom. Go where? I don't have a home. I rented out my apartment for a year. You can stay with Aunt Consuelo, Diego suggested. Or with Lucia. With Consuelo? That old hag? Carmen looked on the verge of a breakdown. After everything I've done for you, I gave my life for you, ungrateful boy, and now you throw me out on the street because of this. This. Ana didn't hear the rest. Valeria had started crying again, and she focused on soothing her baby. By the time the child quieted, silence had fallen beyond the wall too. The bedroom door opened softly. Diego stood on the threshold, pale, sweat beading his forehead. She's gone. She's going to Aunt Consuelo's, he said without meeting Ana's eyes. Your mom went with her to make sure she really leaves. Ana nodded, unable to trust her voice. A storm of conflicting emotions swirled inside her, relief that Carmen was gone, and bitterness at the realization that Diego had only sided with her under pressure, not out of his own will. Diego took a hesitant step into the room. Anita, I didn't know it would turn out like this. Mama called yesterday, said she wanted to make a surprise. I thought she'd just come for the baby's discharge, but she showed up with suitcases. And you decided to keep quiet, Ana finished for him. Diego lowered his eyes guiltily. I was afraid you'd get upset. I wanted it to be for the best. For the best for whom, Diego? For me? For Vale? Or for your mother? He didn't answer, only spread his hands helplessly. Ana gently laid the sleeping Valeria in the crib and turned to her husband. You know what upsets me most? Not that your mother wanted to move in with us, not that she demanded money, but that you allowed all of it without even asking me. I'm sorry. Diego stepped toward her. I'll fix everything. I promise. Ana shook her head. It's not about fixing it, Diego. It's about trust. I thought we were a team, that we made decisions together, especially important ones like this. Diego leaned in, brushing his lips across her forehead. I'll protect you both. I promise. The evening after Carmen's expulsion was filled with heavy silence. Diego wandered around the apartment like a ghost, avoiding his wife's eyes. Ana, busy with the baby, barely left the bedroom. When Gloria returned, her face showed both fatigue and the satisfaction of someone who had carried out a difficult mission. It's done, she said briefly, taking off her coat. I delivered your mother-in-law to that Aunt Consuelo, an old building in San Miguel. Carmen whined the whole way, but I was firm. Ana silently hugged her mother. Will you stay? She asked softly. For a couple of days? Of course, Gloria nodded. I'll show you the basics, then you'll manage. You're strong. Her voice carried the confidence Ana herself so badly lacked. Strong. Ana felt like a squeezed lemon, and not only from the physical exhaustion of childbirth. Diego's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, frowned, and stepped out onto the balcony. Even through the closed door, Ana could hear snatches of conversation, his apologetic tone, the frequent yes, mama, and of course, mama. I'll make dinner, Gloria said, heading for the kitchen. You rest. Ana nodded, returned to the bedroom, and lay down beside the dozing Valeria. Her head throbbed from fatigue and stress. Was this really the happy motherhood she had dreamed of? The first night at home was a trial. Valeria woke every 2 hours, demanding food and comfort. After yet another round of crying, Diego retreated to sleep in the living room, muttering something about work in the morning. Ana managed on her own until dawn, when she was at the end of her strength. Then Gloria appeared, took the baby, and let her daughter sleep for at least a couple of hours. When Ana awoke, the apartment was transformed. Her mother had tidied up, made breakfast, and even managed to wash the baby's clothes. Diego was already gone to work, leaving only a short note, I'll be home late. Meeting. Love you. How do you do it? Ana asked, watching her mother deftly change Valeria's diaper. Experience, Gloria smiled. You're not the only child I've swaddled. In the military hospital, I saw it all. She carefully fastened the snaps on the baby's shirt and handed Valeria back to her daughter. Here's your princess. I'll get lunch started. The day passed in the cozy rhythm of maternal care, under Gloria's gentle guidance. She didn't command, didn't impose her opinion, she simply showed and explained. By evening, Ana already felt more confident, having grasped the basics of caring for a newborn. By the way, Gloria said over dinner, your mother-in-law's been calling all day. To you? Ana asked, surprised. To Diego. I saw his phone. 15 missed calls. Ana sighed heavily. She won't stop. Of course she won't, Gloria replied calmly. Such people never do. But that's not your problem, it's Diego's. She's his mother, it's his responsibility. Ana set down her fork. But what if he gives in again? What if she tries to move in once more? Gloria looked at her daughter seriously. Then you'll have to decide what matters more, saving your marriage or saving your sanity. The front door slammed in the hallway. Diego had returned, dark circles under his eyes. He awkwardly kissed Ana on the cheek, nodded to his mother-in-law, and went straight to the shower. He ate in silence, avoiding conversation. Only before bed, after Gloria had gone to the guest room and Valeria was asleep in her crib, did Diego finally speak in a low voice. Mama is very upset. She says she only wanted to help, to be close, so you could rest. For 20,000 pesos a month, Ana reminded him. Diego winced. But that's not so much for us. And her pension isn't enough. It's not about the money, Ana replied wearily. It's about the principle. You didn't consult me. You let her act as if our apartment were her property. She only wanted to help, Diego repeated stubbornly. Ana gave him a long look. Tell me honestly, do you really believe that? Or are you just afraid to admit that your mother tried to take control of us? Diego stayed silent, nervously tugging at the edge of the blanket. You need to choose, Diego, Ana said quietly. You're a father now, you have your own family, and you can't keep wavering between your mother and your wife. I know, he muttered, eyes downcast. It's just hard. Life is hard, Ana shrugged. But you still have to make a choice. The next 3 days passed relatively peacefully. Gloria showed Ana the basics of childcare, how to recognize the reasons for crying, how to manage feeding and sleeping routines. Valeria was slowly getting used to the new home, and Ana to her role as mother. Diego came home late, often staying long at work. Sometimes Ana overheard him speaking softly on the balcony phone, always in an apologetic tone, always with phrases like yes, mama, and of course, mama. She had no doubt it was Carmen on the other end. On the 4th day, Gloria began to pack. I've stayed long enough, my patients are waiting. Besides, you've got the hang of it now. Ana didn't argue, though inside she felt a knot of fear at being left alone with the baby. Thank you, Mama, she said simply, hugging Gloria. For everything. No need, daughter, Gloria smiled. Call anytime. And remember you can handle this. After her mother left, the apartment felt strangely empty and vast. Valeria slept peacefully in her crib, so Ana decided to take a quick shower. She was just finishing when the doorbell rang. Throwing on a robe and quickly toweling her hair, she went to answer. On the doorstep stood Carmen, carrying a small bag and wearing a determined expression. I came to see my granddaughter, she announced, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. I hope you don't mind. Ana froze, unable to believe such audacity. Actually, I do mind. You could have called first. Why? Carmen was already taking off her coat. I'm not a stranger. I'm the grandmother. Diego isn't home, Ana said, blocking her path to the rooms. He's at work. He'll be back this evening. I know, Carmen smiled. We talked. He said you were alone with the baby and suggested I come help. Ana felt a lump of fury rise in her throat. Again Diego had gone behind her back with his mother. I don't need help, she snapped. I'm managing perfectly well on my own. Carmen gave her a critical once-over. Really? You don't look it. Dark circles under your eyes, hair a mess, robe buttoned wrong. She shook her head. No, dear, you clearly need the help of someone experienced. From the bedroom came Valeria's cry. Ana instinctively turned her head toward the sound, and Carmen seized the moment to slip past her into the room. Oh, the little one's awake. Let Grandma take a look. Ana rushed after her, panic boiling inside. She didn't want a scene in front of the baby, but she also couldn't allow her mother-in-law to pick Valeria up. Something told her that if Carmen so much as touched the child, she would never back down. Wait! Ana darted ahead and reached the crib first. Valeria just ate, she needs a diaper change. I'll do it. She scooped up her crying daughter and quickly carried her toward the bathroom. Carmen followed close behind. You're holding the baby wrong. Her head isn't supported. Let me show you. No, thank you, Ana said firmly, slamming the bathroom door shut in her mother-in-law's face and locking it. Her heart was pounding like crazy. She quickly changed Valeria, soothed her, and held her tightly against her chest. What now? She couldn't possibly spend the whole day locked in the bathroom. Summoning her courage, Ana opened the door. Carmen was standing in the hallway, arms crossed over her chest. This is outrageous. Locking yourself away from your own child's grandmother. I only wanted to help. I don't need your help, Ana said firmly. I appreciate your concern, but I can manage on my own. You? Manage? Carmen snorted. So inexperienced. My Dieguito deserves a healthy, properly raised child. Ana felt something snap inside her. Enough. Enough of this manipulation. Listen to me carefully, she said, staring straight into her mother-in-law's eyes. This is my child. I am her mother, and I decide how she will be raised. If you want to see your granddaughter, fine, but only by prior arrangement and without trying to give orders. Carmen's face flushed red. How dare you speak to me in that tone? I'm older than you. I'm more experienced. So what? Ana retorted calmly. That doesn't give you the right to invade my life and tell me what to do. Ungrateful, Carmen hissed. I came with all my heart, and she. Ana took a deep breath, struggling to stay calm. Let's be honest. You didn't come to help, you came to control. You can't accept that Diego has his own family now. You need to interfere, to command, to be the center of attention. But I never agreed to that. Carmen opened her mouth, shut it, opened it again, and found no words. She clearly hadn't expected such bluntness. You know what? She finally managed. I'll tell Diego how you treated his mother. Go ahead, Ana nodded. And I'll tell him how you came uninvited and tried to take my baby from me. Take her? Carmen cried indignantly. I only wanted to hold my granddaughter. Without the mother's permission, in the first days after childbirth, when both mother and baby are especially vulnerable. Valeria, sensing the tension, began to cry again. Anna rocked her gently, moving slowly toward the front door. I need to calm the baby, and it's time for you to go home. I'm not going anywhere. Carmen stood her ground. I'm the grandmother, I have rights. What rights? Anna asked wearily. The right to barge into someone else's home? The right to dictate how someone else's child should be raised? Those rights don't exist. You'll regret this, Carmen whispered, reluctantly putting on her coat. Diego will find out how you treat his mother. He'll find out how his mother treats his wife, Anna shot back, opening the door. Goodbye, Carmen. Her mother-in-law stormed out, slamming the door so hard the photos on the wall rattled. Anna sank down onto the bench in the hallway, clutching her daughter. Her hands were trembling, her temples throbbed, but inside, there was a strange feeling of release. At last, she had said everything she truly thought. That evening the storm broke. Diego came home earlier than usual, his face filled with righteous anger. You threw my mother out? He demanded from the doorway. Didn't even let her see her granddaughter? Anna was nursing Valeria. She calmly waited until the baby had finished, gently detached her, and laid her in the crib. Only then did she turn to her husband. Your mother came uninvited, tried to take charge in my house. And yes, I sent her away, because I don't want our child to grow up in an atmosphere of constant conflict. She only wanted to help. Diego protested. She wanted to control, Anna corrected him. As always. And you know it. Diego raked his hands through his hair. She was crying when she called me. Said you were rude, wouldn't even let her look at Valeria. And of course you believed her, not me, Anna said with a bitter smile. Typical. Was I supposed to? Diego shot back angrily. Was I supposed to assume right away that my mother was lying? You were supposed to at least hear my side before accusing me, Anna replied. But as always, you took your mother's side without even asking what really happened. Diego lowered his tone a little. All right, I'm listening. What happened? Anna told him in detail about his mother's visit, how she had come without warning, how she tried to take Valeria, how she criticized Anna. She was just worried, Diego repeated stubbornly, though his voice no longer carried the same certainty. She's more experienced than you when it comes to raising children. It's not about experience, Anna shook her head. It's about respect. She doesn't respect my boundaries, my right to decide how to raise my child. And apparently, neither do you. What do you mean? Diego frowned. You told her I was alone with the baby and suggested she come help without asking me. Once again, you made a decision behind my back. Diego looked embarrassed. I just thought. Exactly. You didn't think, Anna cut him off. Otherwise you'd remember what happened the day we came back from the hospital. How your mother tried to move in here, demanded money, insulted me and my mother. Diego sank onto a chair, clearly at a loss for words. I don't mind your mother seeing her granddaughter, Anna continued more gently, but on our terms, by agreement, without trying to boss us around or take control. She doesn't know how to do otherwise, Diego said quietly. She's always been like that, domineering, controlling. I'm used to it. But I'm not, Anna replied firmly. And I don't want Valeria to grow up used to that kind of treatment. I want our daughter to grow up in a healthy environment, where boundaries and feelings are respected. Diego was silent for a long time, staring at one spot. Then he let out a heavy sigh. I'll talk to my mother. I'll explain that she can't come without warning, that she has to respect our rules. She won't listen, Anna shook her head. You know that. Then what do you suggest? Diego asked irritably. Ban her from seeing her granddaughter? No. I suggest setting clear boundaries and making sure they're respected. Anna came over to her husband and placed her hand on his shoulder. Diego, this isn't a war against your mother. It's about protecting our family, our peace. He covered her hand with his, but said nothing. The evening ended in tense silence. The next 2 weeks passed relatively calmly. Carmen didn't show up, only occasionally called her son, complaining about the cramped conditions at Aunt Consuelo's and hinting that the tenants could be asked to move out. Diego began helping more with the baby, changing diapers, rocking Valeria when she was fussy, even learning to bathe the little one under Anna's careful guidance. It seemed the conflict was slowly smoothing over. But the calm was deceptive. One Saturday morning, when Diego had gone to the office for an urgent meeting, the doorbell rang. Anna, who had just put Valeria down to sleep, cautiously looked through the peephole. On the doorstep stood Carmen. And she wasn't alone. Next to her shuffled a stout man in the uniform of a district police officer. "Open up, Anna," the officer said in an official tone. "We need to talk." Anna felt her heart drop into her stomach, but she opened the door. "Good morning. What's this about?" "Captain Rodriguez, district police officer," the man introduced himself. "We've received a complaint from citizen Carmen Herrera that you are preventing the grandmother from seeing her granddaughter, creating an unhealthy environment for the child, and showing aggression." Carmen stood behind him, her face poorly concealing triumphant satisfaction. "That's not true," Anna replied calmly. "I'm not preventing visits. I only asked for prior notice and that the rules of our home be respected." "She won't let me see my granddaughter," Carmen broke in. "For a whole month she hasn't allowed me to visit Valeria. And I worry so much. She's an inexperienced mother. She has postpartum depression." "Senora Herrera, let me handle this," the officer said wearily, clearly no stranger to such family disputes. He turned to Anna. "May I come in?" Anna hesitated for only a second. "You yes. Carmen no. My daughter just fell asleep, and I don't want her disturbed." Carmen opened her mouth to protest, but the officer silenced her with a gesture. "Wait here. I'll speak with Senora Anna alone first." Reluctantly, Carmen stepped back while the officer entered the apartment. Anna led him to the kitchen, offered him tea, but he declined. "Let's clarify the situation," he said. "What exactly is going on between you and your husband's mother?" Anna told everything from the very beginning, about her mother-in-law's attempt to move into their apartment, her demand for money, her uninvited visit. The officer listened carefully, occasionally making notes in his notebook. "So you're not forbidding her to see the child?" he clarified when Anna finished. "You just want visits to be arranged in advance?" "Exactly," Anna nodded. "I don't mind Valeria spending time with her grandmother, but only in my or my husband's presence, and without Carmen trying to take charge in our home." The officer tapped his pen thoughtfully against the notebook. "I see. Family conflicts are a complicated matter, but in essence there's no violation of the law here. You have every right to set rules for visits to your home and for how your child is raised." He stood up, putting away his notebook. "I'll speak with Senora Herrera, explain the legal side of things. But to be honest, I doubt it will help. These conflicts are rarely resolved through official channels." Anna accompanied him to the door. He stepped out into the stairwell, where Carmen was waiting impatiently. "Well, did you see the child isn't well here? That she won't let me in?" "Senora Herrera," the officer began in an official tone, "I found no violation of the law. Senora Anna has the right to set the rules for her home. If you want to see your granddaughter, you must reach an agreement peacefully, without arguments." "But she won't let me in," Carmen protested. "She asks you to arrange visits in advance," the officer explained patiently. "That's a reasonable request, and I advise you to follow it. Otherwise, the next complaint may come from Senora Anna, accusing you of harassment." Carmen flushed scarlet. "How dare you? I am a respected woman. I worked as a nurse for 30 years. The door closed behind the officer and the furious Carmen. Anna leaned against the wall, feeling her legs give way. Only now, as the adrenaline ebbed, did she realize how tense she had been the whole time. In the nursery, Valeria began to cry, woken by the loud voices. Anna hurried to her, scooped her into her arms, pressed her to her chest. The little body in her hands felt so fragile, so defenseless. And that woman Carmen had dragged the police to a newborn baby, to her own granddaughter. "It's all right, little one," Anna whispered, rocking her daughter. "It's all right. Mama won't let anyone hurt you." Valeria gradually calmed down, breathing softly against her mother's shoulder. And in Anna's mind, a decision was forming clear, irrevocable, like a crystal growing out of solution. This has to end, here and now. She gently laid the sleeping Valeria back in her crib and picked up her phone. Diego came home after lunch, disheveled, dark circles under his eyes. Anna was sitting in the living room, looking at something on her laptop. On the coffee table before her stood a cup of tea gone long cold. "Valeria?" he asked, glancing around. "She's asleep," Anna replied without looking up from the screen. "I just fed her. We've got about 2 hours." Diego nodded and headed for the shower. He returned 15 minutes later, refreshed, but still tense. "Will you eat?" Anna asked. "I'll warm something up." "Not hungry." He sank into the armchair opposite his wife. "Anna, we need to talk." She closed the laptop and looked at him calmly. "I'm listening." "Mother called me," Diego began, nervously lacing and unlacing his fingers. "She said you called the police when she came to see her granddaughter." Anna gave a humorless smile. Funny how she twists everything. She's the one who brought the officer. She filed a complaint against me, claimed I don't let her see Valeria, that I'm a street the baby, that I'm unstable. Diego winced. Yes, I realized she exaggerated. The officer called me, asked if I was aware of the conflict. He said he found no violations, but advised us to resolve things peacefully within the family. And what did you say? That I'd sort it out. Diego rubbed the bridge of his nose. Ana, this can't go on. She's my mother. She's part of our family. No, Ana countered calmly. Your mother is not part of our family. Our family is you, me, and Valeria. Your mother is your relative, and I respect that bond, but she has no right to interfere in our lives, especially not like this. Diego sighed. I understand she's crossing the line, but try to understand her too. She's lonely, she's worried. That doesn't explain or excuse her behavior. Ana cut him off. Listen, I tried, I really did. All these years I endured her attacks, her hints, her manipulations for your sake. But now we have a daughter, and I will not let her childhood be poisoned by endless quarrels. She paused, gathering her thoughts. Diego, today your mother crossed every line. She didn't just show up unannounced, she brought the police, tried to paint me as an unfit mother. Do you understand what that could have led to? Diego turned pale. You're exaggerating. Mom would never. Never what? Ana leaned forward. Never try to turn you against me? Never try to control our lives? Never try to take Valeria away while I'm supposedly depressed? Do you really believe that? Diego was silent, eyes lowered. Ana could see the struggle within him, habitual obedience to his mother versus the dawning realization of the truth. I love you, Diego. I want us to be happy. But that won't happen if your mother keeps interfering in our lives. We need boundaries, firm, impenetrable boundaries. What kind? He asked hoarsely. No unplanned visits, no one-on-one time with Valeria, no decisions behind my back, Ana listed clearly, as if reciting points of a contract. And if those rules are broken, then no contact at all. A complete cutoff. Diego gave a nervous laugh. You're asking me to give my own mother an ultimatum? I'm asking you to protect your family, Ana replied calmly. Your wife and daughter. This is your choice, Diego. Either you're a husband and father or you remain forever little Dieguito. A heavy silence filled the room. Diego sat hunched, staring at a single spot. Ana waited, not pressing him for an answer. At last he straightened. All right, I'll talk to her, explain the rules. But Ana, I can't completely cut ties with my mother. She's my mother, you understand? I do, Ana nodded. I'm not asking you to sever ties. I'm asking for boundaries. You can see her as much as you want, but separately from us, until she learns to respect our rules. Diego exhaled heavily. She won't take this well. Who would? Ana shrugged. But it's necessary. For all of us. Diego got up and walked to the window. Outside, a fine rain blurred the street into a gray wash. I'll go to her now, he said without turning. Better to say it in person than over the phone. Ana stood and went to him, resting her hand on his shoulder. Thank you. I know how hard this is for you. He covered her hand with his and gave a faint smile. I'll manage. I have to. Diego returned late in the evening. Ana, rocking a fussy Valeria, heard the front door slam. Her husband's footsteps were heavy, uneven. He appeared in the nursery doorway, pale, his eyes dim. How did it go? Ana asked softly, still swaying her daughter. Diego sank heavily onto the edge of the bed. Horribly. She screamed, cried, accused both you and me of every sin imaginable. She said I was a traitor, that I chose that woman over my own mother. Ana listened silently, letting him pour it out. Then she started threatening, Diego went on, rubbing his face wearily. That she'd file a report with child services, tell everyone what a bad mother you are, that she'd disinherit me. He gave a bitter smile. As if she has anything to leave besides a 2-bedroom apartment in the old district and a collection of Talavera pottery. Valeria finally calmed and fell asleep. Ana gently laid her in the crib and sat beside her husband. And how did it end? I walked out, Diego said simply, in the middle of another tirade. I just stood up and left. She called me the entire way home. I didn't answer. He pulled out his phone and showed Ana 27 missed calls and 32 messages, all from his mother. She won't stop, Diego said quietly. You know that, right? I know, Ana nodded. But we have to be stronger, we have to withstand the pressure. Otherwise she'll never leave us alone. Diego embraced his wife, pressing his face into her hair. I'm so tired, Anita. My whole life balancing between her wishes and mine, trying to please her, to avoid an outburst, hysteria, accusations. You don't have to do that anymore, Ana said gently, stroking his back. You're a grown man now, a husband, a father. You have the right to your own life, your own choices. I know, Diego whispered, but it's so hard to change. It's like part of me is still that little boy, afraid of disappointing his mother. Anna pulled back, took his face in her hands. Listen to me. We'll get through this. Together. I'm here, and I'll support you no matter what. He nodded gratefully, squeezing her hands in his. I love you. And Valeria. You're my real family. That night was the first time they truly talked honestly, openly, without half-truths. Diego told her about his childhood, how his mother controlled his every step, manipulated him with guilt, and pushed away all friends who didn't fit her idea of the right company. She was never a bad mother in the usual sense, he said, staring at the ceiling. She didn't drink, didn't beat me, took care of my education. But her love was always conditional. I had to be who she wanted me to be, do what she approved of, befriend only those she chose. Anna listened without interrupting. So much suddenly made sense: his indecision, his fear of conflict, his constant need for approval. When I met you, for the first time I felt like I could breathe freely, Diego continued. You didn't try to change me, didn't control my every move. You just loved me as I was. He turned toward her, his eyes glistening in the darkness. I don't want to lose that feeling of freedom. And I don't want Valeria to grow up the way I did in fear of disappointing someone, of never being enough. Anna hugged her husband silently. There was no need for words when their hearts finally beat in unison. The following days felt like a siege. Carmen called 10 times a day, sometimes Diego, sometimes Anna. Her messages ranged from pleading to furious. Twice she showed up at their building, but the concierge warned Diego, who refused to let her upstairs. Finally, on Friday evening, Anna's phone rang again. The number was unfamiliar. Hello? She answered cautiously. Senora Anna? Came a pleasant female voice. This is Lucia, Carmen's friend. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but the situation is complicated. Carmen is with me, and she's not feeling well. Anna tensed. What happened? You see, she came to me last night, very upset. She spoke about some conflict with you and Diego, took a sedative. And this morning she felt worse, her blood pressure spiked, she was dizzy. I called an ambulance, but she refused to go to the hospital. She said she only needed her son. Anna closed her eyes. Another manipulation? Or was Carmen truly unwell this time? I'll let Diego know, she replied evenly. He's in the shower right now, but he'll call you back, all right? Yes, of course, Lucia exhaled with relief. Sorry to bother you. Anna hung up, lost in thought. Should she tell Diego exactly as it was, or check first if this was just another of Carmen's tricks? But there was no real choice. Even if it was manipulation, they couldn't ignore a possible health risk to an elderly woman. When Diego came out of the bathroom, Anna calmly relayed Lucia's message. I'll go, see for myself, he said resolutely. If it's real, I'll call an ambulance and insist on hospitalization. If it's another performance, I'll put an end to it once and for all. Do you want me to go with you? Anna asked. No, Diego shook his head. Valeria just fell asleep. Stay with her. I can handle it. There was a new, unfamiliar firmness in his voice. Anna kissed him. Call if you need anything. Diego returned well past midnight. Anna hadn't gone to bed. She was waiting in the living room with a book in her hands. She set it aside when she heard the key turn in the lock. Her husband looked exhausted but calm. It's fine. Mom really wasn't well. Her blood pressure shot up to 180. I insisted on hospitalization. They admitted her to cardiology for observation. Seriously? Anna asked with concern. The doctor said it's nothing critical, but she needs monitoring. Diego sank wearily into a chair. You know what's strange? Mom hardly resisted when I called the ambulance. Usually, she's terrified of hospitals. Anna stayed silent, unsure what to say. Was Carmen truly ill? Or was this a calculated move to gain sympathy and regain control? I don't know what to think, Diego said, as if reading her mind. On the one hand, she's not a young woman, and she's had health issues before. On the other, a lucky coincidence, Anna finished for him. Yes, he rubbed his eyes. In any case, I arranged everything with the doctor. They'll examine her, treat her. It'll take about a week, maybe a bit more. And then? Diego lifted his gaze to his wife. Then we'll talk again. Seriously. About the future, about boundaries, about rules. I don't want to cut ties with her completely, Anna, but I can't go on as things were either. Anna walked over to him, knelt in front of him, and took his hands in hers. I understand. She's your mother, and you love her despite everything. I'm not asking you to choose between us. All I asked for is protection for me, for Valeria, for our family. Diego bent down and brushed his lips against her forehead. I'll protect you. I promise. Carmen spent 10 days in the hospital. Diagnosis: a hypertensive crisis brought on by stress. Nothing fatal, but enough to make her think about her health and lifestyle. Diego visited her every day, bringing fruit, homemade food, fresh newspapers. Ana didn't go with him, but she sent flowers and wished her a speedy recovery. According to Diego, Carmen was unusually quiet and thoughtful, hardly complained at all. The doctor scared her, Diego said after one of his visits. He told her bluntly that if she doesn't change her lifestyle and learn to avoid stress, the next crisis could be much more serious. On the day of her discharge, Diego went to pick her up in the morning. Ana stayed at home, having agreed with her husband in advance. Carmen could come by for tea, see her granddaughter, but no long visits, no attempts to stay over. Valeria had just woken from her nap when the doorbell rang. Ana opened it to see Diego with Carmen unusually quiet, thinner after her illness. Hello, Ana, her mother-in-law nodded, handing her a small package. This is for you and Valeria. Some herbal tea and biscuits. Healthy ones. Thank you. Ana accepted the gift, trying to hide her surprise at such a change in tone. Come in. Valeria just woke up. Carmen stepped into the apartment cautiously, as if afraid of disturbing a fragile truce. Diego followed her, carrying his mother's bag. In the living room, Carmen saw her granddaughter for the first time since the maternity ward. Valeria, now a month old, had grown stronger. She lay in her crib, watching the colorful birds of the mobile overhead. May I? Carmen asked softly, pointing toward the baby. Ana nodded. Of course. Just wash your hands, please, after the hospital. Obediently, the older woman went to the bathroom. Diego took the moment to whisper to his wife, she really has changed. All the way here she kept talking about how much she'd rethought things in the hospital. I think this scare genuinely shook her. Ana raised a skeptical eyebrow but stayed silent. Time would tell. Carmen returned with freshly washed hands and stopped by the crib, gazing at her granddaughter. Beautiful. Diego's eyes, but your nose, Ana. She gently extended a finger, and Valeria immediately grasped it with her tiny hand. Such a strong girl. Carmen smiled. A true Herrera. Ana tensed inwardly, waiting for the usual sharp remark or reproach. But Carmen simply stood there, smiling at the baby, letting her explore her finger. Diego suggested tea, and they moved to the kitchen. Ana brought Valeria along, settling her into a baby chair. At first the conversation faltered. They spoke about the weather, the hospital, the new medication prescribed to Carmen. Finally, the older woman set down her cup and looked straight at Ana. I need to apologize for everything I said, for how I behaved. It was wrong. Ana froze with her cup halfway to her lips, hardly believing her ears. Carmen apologizing? I had a lot of time to think in the hospital, the woman went on, fiddling with her napkin. I thought about how I almost lost my son because of my stubbornness, how I could have ruined my relationship with my only granddaughter. She took a deep breath. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want you to know that I realize I was wrong, and I'll try to change. Ana exchanged a glance with Diego. His eyes held a mixture of surprise and hope. Thank you for your words, Carmen, Ana replied cautiously. I appreciate your honesty, and I hope we can build a better relationship for Diego's and Valeria's sake. Carmen nodded. I hope so too. And, may I ask a favor? Call me just Carmen, not Senora. It makes me feel so old. Ana couldn't help but smile. All right, Carmen. They talked for another hour, freer now, lighter. Carmen shared stories about little Diego, carefully avoiding her usual barbs and lectures. Ana spoke about her first month of motherhood. Valeria, as if sensing the importance of the moment, behaved surprisingly calmly, asking for attention only now and then. When it was time to part, Carmen stood and turned to her son. Dieguito, walk me to a taxi, please. I'm a little tired after the hospital. Diego nodded, helping her into her coat. At the door, Carmen looked back at Ana. Thank you for the tea and for letting me see Valeria. Could I visit sometimes? As a guest? Of course, Ana replied. Just call ahead, all right? Of course, Carmen agreed. Goodbye, Ana. When the door closed behind her mother-in-law, Ana exhaled and sank onto the stool in the hallway. Had something truly changed? Or was this only a calm before the next storm?
If you're enjoying it as well, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.